This is a tutorial on how to do the alcohol inking on here. So again, my name is Laura De La Rosa. I'm from the Vintage Key blog, and also I'm a designer for Graphic 45 design team. So this is the tutorial that I'm going to show you today. This is a 12 by 12 layout that I did, and if you actually look back here, this is an actual piece of acetate. This is a dimensional layout. You have different dimensions here, but we used an acetate right here, and this acetate has a lot of blues and greens colors, kind of like to go with the sea. So this is what I want to show you the tutorial on. Now what we did is we actually used alcohol inks to do this because alcohol inks stain acetate. This acetate piece, this 12 by 12 piece, actually came from Creative Imaginations, has a company called Creative Cafe, and this was one of the pieces from Creative Cafe. What I have here is a smaller piece that I just want to go ahead and show you. This is a 9 by 9 piece of acrylic that we're going to be working on today. Acrylic acetate is a lot thinner, so this is an acrylic piece because it's a little thicker. And you can see it's not totally clear. And this comes from the AccuCut company, the ones that make like the big dies. They actually sell acetate acrylic pieces. So it's going to be a little fuzzy. So what you want to do, you have backing on the front and backing on the back. So what you want to go ahead and do is go ahead and just peel it off. So now we have a completely clear piece. And the reason for that, that's just to protect the acetate. So Tim Holtz, this is a ink blending tool, and we're going to be using the felt tips. His felt tips are actually made for the alcohol inks. He also sells foam tips, and the foams are actually used for inking with his actual distressing ink. So now that we have that together, we've got our tool ready. We are going to be using Adirondack, and this is also by Tim Holtz, alcohol blending solution. And these are the alcohol inks that we're going to be using. He has several collections. He has from his regular collection, we're going to be using the denim, and he has two others which are called Lights and Brights. And from the Brights collection, we're going to be using the Pool. We're going to be using Sailboat Blue. From the Lights collection, we're going to be using Cloudy Blue, Aqua, and Juniper. And the reason I chose these colors is because these are pretty much, to me, the kind of colors of the sea. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I actually have an apron on just in case if I get any actual ink on myself. It will follow my apron and not my clothes. That is just preference to you. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start by taking each one of my lids off here. So I'm just going to take this lid off right here, and I'm just going to start dropping. Now, another way of doing this is you can actually take these colors and you can actually place them on your blending felt tip, but I like to do it this way better. And I'm not worried on how much that's going to bleed because you'll be able to see how we're going to get a different effect with that. So I'm just going to drop. As I'm putting it here, you can kind of see how it's diluting, it's spreading itself everywhere. And you just kind of, pour drops accordingly to where you feel you would want them to be. And because these are alcohol ink based, you can have a little bit of a strong smell. So you just want to work in a nice ventilated area or make sure that you have a window. So back here I actually have a window, and so that is open so that we can have some of that smell to go out. So I'm just pouring along, and now I'm going to use my last one, which is the Juniper, and just kind of pour that on. So I hope that you can actually see that. Let me just make sure that that is on camera. Perfect. Okay, so now that we've got that, what we want to do is go ahead and take our blending tool, and we're just going to go ahead and just dab. I am just pressing down. I'm not doing any swirling motion. I'm just pressing down. What happens is this is actually going to take all the alcohol inks, and it's going to start to mix them together. And once they're mixing, they're going to start to spread. At the beginning, it might look like it's making just a dotty pattern, but as they start to mix and blend, they're actually going to spread apart. So I am just dabbing that till I get all the way across. And I know on the 12 by 12 paper you're going to be like, oh my God, I got to do all this dabbing, but it actually doesn't take that long. So far this is my end result. You can kind of see that there. Pick that up. So this is my end result, but what I want to do now is, to me, this is still a little bit too blotchy. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and use the ink blending solution. What this does, the reason it's called the blending solution is because as soon as you put it on here, it's actually going to blend. It's going to spread. So you just want to do little drops here and there. And I'm going to do some like where I think some of the big dark spots are at, and I'm just going to drop it. And again, you can also put this on this and just dab down, but I like to do the dropping motion. I hope that you can see that on camera, how it's just reacting. You can see it making those circles. So now that I'm here, I'm just going to take this, my dabber, and I'm just going to go along. And this is just kind of helping it blend its way through. And depending on how much color you want or don't want, you can use more blending solution. So now I'm going to actually take this to the applicator and just pour some dots here on the applicator. Close that up. These are alcohol inks so they can dry. So as soon as you use them, you want to make sure that you recap them. You can leave them uncapped for a little bit, but not too long. So now I'm just going to go in here and dab. And this gives me a different reaction. I hope that you can see that on the camera, how it's just reacting. Because everywhere you put that blending solution on that alcohol ink, it's just going to blend. It's actually pretty amazing when you start to do this in person and you have it in front of you. It really is exciting, just the drastic looks that it can create. Love playing with alcohol inks. They can make some beautiful, just drastic effects. Really just amazing. So I kind of think I like mine there. Once you have it to your desired look, you just want to set this aside. You can actually even fan it if you want to. It is going to dry very, very quickly. Sometimes I will take my heat gun and So just nice big swirl motions, because if you put too much heat in one area, it's going to warp it. And in this case, when you do it a little bit further away, it's not going to warp it. So there it is. It still has some wet spots. Like you can see, here's a wet spot here. You can actually see some there. But as I said, it takes just seconds for it to really dry. When this piece is dry, and you can actually take a look at that, I actually have two looks here. I have one that's a little bit more spotted and one that's a little bit more spread. If I want to continue this spread, this dotted part, I can take certain colors. So I think I'm going to take here from just the regular, which is the denim, and there's that denim. I'm just going to take it and put certain spots here on my blending solution. At this point, I'm going to start using the felt pad a little bit more, the felt tip, and just dabbing that across. And as you go along with that, you can just keep playing and playing and kind of see what works for you. So pretty much this is the tutorial. Very fast, very easy. It's very beautiful. I want to make sure that you guys can really see that there. It is just truly, truly amazing. And when you work with this, when this is completely dry and you are actually ready to put a piece of artwork or paper or whatnot over it, you want to turn that around so that you can be completely on the smooth surface, okay? If you happen to put anything on here, if you put glue or anything on here, it will react to this. And that's the whole point of working with an acetate, because it's clear so that when you flip it over, you can actually see it. And so here you have versus a clear, let me put this on here, you have this smooth surface so that you can do whatever you want to. You can actually stamp on this surface or do anything. When you're going to stamp on acetate, you are actually going to want to use any type of archival or StazOn inks to do that. StazOn ink, and this is jet black and StazOn. Because this will stamp on any acetate, any plastics, and it will dry completely, very quickly. Also, you want to use an archival. This is archival ink based, which means it will dry quickly on any smooth surface. So if you're going to use like glossy paper, acetate, acrylic, you kind of want to use these two inks, okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial on how to use alcohol inks on acetate, acrylic, any piece, any smooth surface, you can use these alcohol inks on. And that is what I did on my page here. So that's what made this really beautiful water background. On this one, I didn't go so drastic. I used all the same ink colors, but I didn't put very many. I just kind of put little droplets here and there. So that's how that looks right there. Okay?